Welcome back, Math Marbles. In this lesson, we're going to explore how we can use math to represent percent change problems. In this case, we're going to have a percent increase. Saeed, he's earning money on an amount he puts into the bank. He earns 4.25% on his savings account. That means when he keeps his money in the savings account, over time, he will earn an additional small amount. It's kind of like, it's called interest. It's kind of like a thank you, like, hey, you lent us this money, we're using it, so we're paying you a little extra on it. Okay, that's what interest will mean in this scenario. I'm trying to explain it to in 7th grade terms. Anyway, he has $64 in his savings, and we want to know what is that 4.25% of 64? How much is he going to earn? So, first part, that's what our main problem is asking us. We want to know what that small part is, and that makes this a part to whole ratio problem. We also know that we can represent 4.25% as a ratio because it is a ratio. It's just a ratio out of 100. And given that we want to know the small part, we're going to also look at this as a part to whole. And in this case, $64 represents the whole amount. And we're going to try and figure out the part. So our 64% is 100% of the amount. And again, that's the part we want to know. So here's our plan. We're going to use math to create the ratio table, setting up this part to whole relationship. You're going to see me do this. You're going to see me use 4.25% as a ratio. I'm going to put it out of 100. So that's going to be on the top and on the bottom. And on the other side, we're going to see a number out of 64 because again, 64 should be in the same row as 100 because 64 is the whole in this problem. You're going to see us write the expression using the cross products, and then we're going to solve for that unknown, and then we'll know what the part of 64 is. So that's the plan. We're going to jump into action. Hit pause so you can jot this down in your notes, and let's see how it goes. Starting with our plan, I'm doing our box using math, and looking at again, from our known part, we know that 4.25% is a ratio. I can count it as 4.25 out of 100, and this represents a part of the whole. And the 64, also thinking back, we have to just make a decision. Is 64 the part, or is 64 represent the whole? And looking at the question again, we want to know what is 4.25%. So I want to know what is this part out of 64. So we're just verifying it. All right, as always, we're going to cross multiply. So 100n is equal to 4.25 times 64. We'll use our calculators to do this to be more efficient. And we're getting 272. So 100 times a number is equal to 272. And you're going to see this a lot. Anytime we have percents, a lot of times we're going to see 100 times a number. And that's great because just to figure out that number, we're going to divide by 100. And so n is equal to what? This is kind of the way when I see this number, anytime I divide by a magnitude of 10. So if I divide by 10, I move the decimal one time. Divide by 100, moving it twice. So in my head, I'm just moving a decimal 2 times to get 2 hundredths. And that is our answer. Saeed earns $2.72. That represents 4.25% of 64. All right, hit pause so you can jot this one down into your notes. Our second problem is another part to whole relationship. In this case, it's a little different. So let's read the problem in the context. 30% of a number is 24. That matters. That 30% is 24. So what is the original number? So if we know 24 is part of the number, we really want to know what's the whole number. Here's what we know. We know 24 is 30%. We know 30% is pretty much a ratio, 30 out of 100. So we're going to use math to set up these ratio tables. Again, it is a part to whole ratio. We're going to see that a lot with our percent problems. we're going to add the percentages that we know. So because we see 30%, automatically we're writing that in 30 out of 100. And we know in this case 24 is the part. So it's going to be in the same row as the 30. And we want to know the other one. So it's going to be 24 over a number. Our math is going to be the same. We're going to write an equation using our cross products, and then we're going to solve for the unknown number, and that will give us the whole amount. 24 is 30% of some number. Okay, so let's hit pause, jot this down in your notes, and then we'll put it into action. And I'm just going to be super intentional putting a line there so I have enough time to write. And the same thing, I want to know what is 30% of the number 24. So again, we have a part to whole ratio. Anytime I see a percent, I know I'm dealing with a part to whole ratio. So here's our ratio, 30 out of 100. And it's telling me 30% of a number is 24. So that 30% is 24. They're on the same line, and I want to know the original number, so I want to know the whole thing on the bottom. All right, we set this up as we normally do. 30n, and on the other side we have 100 times 24. Okay, so 30n is equal to 2400, and again I'm going to rewrite this by dividing by 30. And that gives me a number is equal to what? There's some mental math that we can do here. So when I look at this, I can first see 24 being divided by 3. I know there's an 8 there. So I know my answer is going to have an 8 in it somewhere. Another thing I've seen kids do is they divide both the top and bottom by 10 to make it easier. So when I do that, it's 240 divided by 3. And that's actually what I was doing in my head, but I wanted you to see my thinking in my head. So in my head, because there's a 0 on the top and bottom, I can divide both by 10. And 240 divided by 3 is 80. So now let's write in this number. 30% of 80 is 24. 80 is the original number in the problem. Okay, Math Marvels, that's it for this lesson. Again, anytime we see a percent, just know that this is a hidden ratio and we can represent it as a fraction out of 100. And our big question to ask ourselves is that second number. Is this number representing the part or is it the whole? Good luck on practice today. Ask many great questions and I will see you in the next lesson. Take care.